And good morning. I'm your friend Scotty Ray. As we start, what is today, Friday? Isn't that wonderful? 60 right now as you're waking up. That's some 18 degrees difference than a few days ago. Well, I turned my heater off. I had to let it go down. I done got warm up in here. We do hope you're having a wonderful day. A great show lined out for you this morning, beginning at 7 o'clock live. Cowboy Church is coming to see us. We'll find out what they have to say from downtown Enterprise this morning. Join us for that. It'll be a lot of fun. Maybe we'll all learn something together. We'll get into some headlines that are happening nationwide this morning. What's going on? What is shaping the world? A lot of things. We'll tell you about AWOL. Oh, yeah. We'll tell you what went on there. If you've heard this before, we'll get into the story here in just a moment. We've got forecast and so much more happening this morning. Let's get into your forecast. And right now, let's go out to Collinsville, First Baptist Church, find out what they've got to say today.
Do you know somebody who's stuck up? They think they're better than others and ignore the little people around them. Have you ever been guilty of being stuck up? Well, the Bible has a word for us today in Romans 12:16. It says very simply, do not be haughty, but associate with the lowly. Now, haughtiness is arrogance, snobbery, being stuck up. We're all tempted to do this, at least from time to time, but God straightforwardly commands us, don't be that way. Associate with the lowly. If you're a follower of Jesus, look, you can't help but associate with the lowly because that's who Jesus associated with. He associated with the poor, the lame, the deaf, the mute, the demon-possessed, the diseased. I mean, he touched the untouchables of society, and if we are to follow him, we must do the same. So who are the lowly among us? May we not only associate with them, may we love them and seek to make a difference in their lives. Instead of being stuck up, may we stand up for and stand with the least of these among us. Change begins in you.
The Change Begins in You is brought to you in part by Piggly Wiggly of Collinsville, Patrick Allen Companies, Mitchell Tire and Wrecker in Collinsville, and Mowdy Cabinetry. And welcome back. Always good to get something good to start the day. As I mentioned a moment ago, do y'all remember the name Travis King? We talked about it a few months ago. It could have been a little bit longer than that. Travis King's a U.S. soldier who ran across the North Korean border. Does that ring a bell? Do y'all remember that? We didn't know what really went on. He's being charged with desertion now. Why did he do it? Well, there was a lot of other things going on in his world, as in child pornography, possibly charges against other soldiers as well, assault charges. We'll get the rest of the story on this before long. This is serious charges. Desertion is at the top of what you don't do in the U.S. military. George Washington would have handled it a little bit differently and quickly. I don't know if you've read history, but he didn't do that in his army. As we come across and take a look at what else we've got going on today, let's see here. We're probably, and this could happen within the next 24 hours, as we look at Israel. They're on ready, set, go as they're getting ready to move into Gaza. What's going to happen, we don't know. We'll keep you posted as to what the world events become of this. A lot of threats nationwide. We'll talk more about that also. I issued what was put out by the U.S. of world travel, to be on your absolute P's and Q's if you go anywhere. And remember, this is even stateside. We don't want you to take anything for granted when it comes for all of this. We just don't know what these folks are up to. A lot of people get up, you know where I'm going with all that. Be cautious, whether you're traveling abroad or if you're in the United States in large crowds, pay attention. We've got some folks here that probably don't need to be here. A 30-year mystery has been solved. Have you seen this case? The remains of a man that's been missing for more than 30 years has been found on the estate of a serial killer. There's no telling what else they will find on there if this has been that long. It was 1993 that he went missing. Alan Livingston. Family will finally get peace. There's no telling how many cases like this is across the United States that we just don't know about. Someone comes up missing, there's never an answer. Luckily, and as sad as it is, the family will get some closure at this point. Canada is where we go to next. Have you seen this? They're removing 41 of their diplomats from India after threats from New Delhi to revoke their immunity. So they're moving out. We'll watch that. A lot of back and forth going on there. As we see some other stories this morning that are coming up, ground invasion getting ready, we see that a Maryland judge, now this is America, a judge shot in his own driveway. They're watching other judges' homes. And we've had that happen in Meridian. Y'all know that. The courthouse. It's bad when the bad guys go after judges. They do their job, they try to sort it out, and the bad guys, and you're going to see an increase in this as criminals that work together. We know that. So with that being said, of the folks in Maryland, anywhere, if you're a judge watching me, pay attention to what you do and how you do and where you go, especially in the early morning hours when you go to your vehicles and get out of it. See what your surroundings are. Just don't jump out. This is just a shame as we watch what's going on in Washington, to where we have no GOP Speaker of the House. They just can't get along, can they? They can't seem to vote. As you all well know, Democrats may have their ins and outs with each other, but when it comes time to vote, they unify. The Republicans have, well, not figured that out yet, which causes many issues. Well, they don't get things done. It sets a bad example and really makes the political party not look good. Let's hope this is fixed. I'm afraid that it's not going to work out for Jim Jordan, as we've gone through, 2 votes now? It's going to be more and more. We even saw this beforehand, before McCarthy got thrown out. How many votes did he go through? 11, 12? They just can't seem to put that together. Did any? I did not. He was not my type of flavor, I guess you could say. Do anybody remember Jon Stewart? He used to do the Daily Show. Yeah, it wasn't my show. Odie even says it wasn't his. He had a new show. I think it had 3 or 4 shows done. Apple was behind it. The name of the show was The Problem with Jon Stewart. They've canceled it. Must not went over too well. Just small thoughts there. We've got a lot of details coming up, what's gone on in the last 24 hours. We'll update you with all of that. So on the way next is we'll get into your forecast. Let's put a smile on. Let's face this. It's going to be a real good day. We'll be right back.
Health Now is your locally owned medical equipment store. Every person's need is a little different, and they offer a little bit of everything, from hospital beds, wheelchairs, reclining back wheelchairs, breathing treatments, CPAPs and supplies. They even have walkers, bath products, and oxygen. And the great thing about Health Now is they offer same-day service. They're open Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. and on call 24/7. Health Now Medical Equipment, where we treat our patients like family.
And welcome back as we see Ricky Nelson on vacation, Gulfport. Good morning there. Hope you're having a fun time there. So many of you are up. I do see we got some Louisville watchers today. Corey, how are you doing there? Ooh, Mark says he's going to have some surgery, needs a few prayers there coming up on Monday. We'll do that for you there. I don't care if it's just getting a stitch. I get spooked always. You mentioned that doctor word in the hospital, I get nervous. I think most probably people do. Good morning from Pearlington. Susan Hurst joining us there. Thank you. We appreciate that. So many of you as we stir this Friday. Let's get into our forecast now.
Your forecast is brought to you by EMEPA, your Touchstone Energy Cooperative.
Our record highs, our record lows, we go back to 2016 to 1989. Whew. Well, it was actually 2016, it was 89 degrees. I got that confused. Back to 64, we had below freezing temperatures at 30 this morning. Is what the temperature was back then. That's when we'd get that big snow. As we look at the forecast for today, we're looking for 83 here in Meridian. We'll stay basically the same as we go north through Philadelphia. Noxapater is about where it will start changing a little bit, hit about 82. And by the time you get to Columbus, Starkville, around the Air Force Base there, we're down to 80. Now, it warms up as we get over to the Delta again and due south of us in Hattiesburg, we'll hit 85. But nice weather in the Meridian area, East Mississippi, somewhere around 83. As we moved east into Alabama, Tuscaloosa has great weather, 80 degrees. Birmingham, 76 for today. Now, somewhere around Demopolis and in that area, or Livingston, should be 81 to 83, 82, somewhere there within 1 or 2 degrees. So be prepared for that. Now, as we come across, we want to remind you that the burn ban is still in effect. It has not been lifted. Fire danger, and if you'll see here, Lauderdale County on into Clark County, down to Wayne, Laurel, all of these areas back west of Vicksburg. Natchez is under a level 2 threat when it comes to it. Elevated threat. Be careful. Do not burn. It has not been lifted yet. Columbus and those areas under a level 1. But ours, especially with today, the wind's going to gust up to about 15 to 20. That makes it even worse. Don't burn any boxes. Don't do anything. Here's what we've got. This abnormal weather, 85 degrees right now, is what we're expecting in portions of this. And you'll see that across the southern states from Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, into the Carolinas and Georgia and Florida. But the good news is just out to our west Texas, starting to see some lighter temperatures move in, a little bit cooler. So that's coming. Something to look forward to. Here's our 7-day forecast. As we see today, it could pass that 83 and hit 85. As we see Saturday, the same. We start seeing a little bit better weather Sunday with a high of about 78, but 0% chance of rain. Now, we're back at the 80-degree mark at the beginning of next week, and we'll hold steady on that. At least it's not upper 80s, and that's going to carry us through Thursday. The extended forecast, we get one day of that 81-degree weather, and then finally, at the end of the month on Halloween, we dump back to about 68. So you'll need to dress the kids a little bit warmer on Halloween night. It'll be a little bit cooler that night. Chance of showers there coming in at 40%. Now, again, we're 2 weeks out from that. You know how weather changes in the south. It may not even think about raining by the time it gets here. Here's what we've got looking out as we go out to the Atlantic. We do have Tammy, who is a tropical storm. She's moving along at 58 miles an hour. She has 1,000 millibars is where she's at this point. No threat. This is going to turn the way if it projected and stay in the Atlantic. Will not come into the Gulf. That's the good news. We do have something that we're watching down in this area. Nothing to mention just yet. We'll pay close attention to it. Now, as we get into our fishing forecast for today, Chet's Paint and Body. You'll find him out there. Chet will remind you we got a lot of gusts in the area. Your best times to fish today is going to be high noon. Meet in the street corner about 11:30 and head on out. From 12 to noon will be perfect time to go fishing. It'll be after dark before it gets great again. But that's your fishing forecast. Let's see what we have on the hunting side as we look for today. The perfect time is going to be 12:30 for deer hunting. 12:30 to 1:30 is what we've got projected with this. So be ready to do that. It'll be way after dark. So that's your time today. It's an after midday hunt. And again, if you're in a tree stand, it's going to be kind of gusty there. Winds sustained of about 15 with gusts up to about 25 miles an hour. That's pretty strong. It is. We're already starting to see a little bit of daylight breaking, starting to come through the clouds. That's good news as we get this going. Jerry Wilson, how in the world are you doing? Miss Ruth K. is watching this morning. Crescent Lake is joining us there. Any news of when the burn ban will be lifted? No, we don't have any. It is just set in stone for the time being. It's to be determined. We hadn't had enough rain yet for anything to be lifted, and it's one forest fire after another due to this. So as we said, please don't burn well, you can't. Let me just word it that way. That's what's going on with that. We're coming live in about 10 minutes as we'll bring you the morning show. Lots of guests, lots of things going on today. Sit back, get you a cup of coffee, and be ready for it. Get you an egg before we start, but you're going to want to pay attention. All on the way, the Scotty Ray Report.
The Scotty Ray Report is brought to you by our following partners.